In a previous video, we mentioned the event object and the functionality it can provide. One of the methods in the event object is setView. By default, the view uses the same naming convention that your handler uses. For example, if we're running the users/list event handler, then the view that gets rendered is in the views folder, under that the users folder, and we'll be rendering the file list.cfm. In some cases, you may want to override that default behavior, and you can do so with event.setView. You simply call setView and pass the name of the view in that you want to use. The name is actually the file under your views folder minus the .cfm extension. For example, if you want to use a view called tabular in the users folder, you would do setView users/tabular, like we'll see in this upcoming demo. So here's our user list page that we've been working from for the previous examples. It behaves the exact same way as we've seen it before. The links here point to our details page, and here's the code that handles our list functionality, get the data out of the database, hand it off to our list view right here. We've got a simple CF loop at the top. It's outputting those links. Nothing too fancy here. Back here in our user's handler, we can override that default behavior. Right now, it's going from our users handler to the list function, and we're going from the users folder to the list.cfm view page, which is what we've been looking at right there. Let's say instead of using the list CFM page, I want to use this tabular layout. I can go here to my handler, and I can simply add this one line of code, event.setView, and I pass it users/tabular, the folder name, and the view underneath that folder that I want to use. Take a look at our list.cfm real quick. You can see that the query in here is prc.qry_users, and in our view tabular, it's using the exact same query here to output that content. So any pieces of data you reference from the handler in your default view, you have to reference them with the same names in whatever views you override the default with. So just make sure that your naming conventions match in here. Whatever queries you used in your handler, they've got to work in your default view, and they've got to be the same variable names and handler names and queries and all that stuff in anything you override it with. So back here in our handler, I've called event.setView. We're going to pass in tabular instead. Let's go back to our layout. Here's the list view we saw before. Refresh the page, and you can see now we're getting table-based tabular layout. And all we had to do was go here and add setView users/tabular, and it changes the results of our layout. We can also take things a step farther with event.setView. Here we're just overriding the default view. I'm going to comment that version of the function call out, and we'll look at the second one now. Here we're also overriding the default view, but I'm passing in this second parameter layout, setting it to new bootstrap. Let's take a look in our layouts folder right here. And you can see I have two files, main.cfm, which is the default layout we've been using for all of our Coldbox demos thus far, and this other file, new bootstrap.cfm. Take a look at main.cfm first, and I'm going to open new bootstrap next to it. These files are pretty much identical. There's one change I've made in them. Here's our main CFM that we've been using, and here's the link to Bootstrap that we're including in that layout. You can see we're using Bootstrap version 4.1.3. Here in new Bootstrap, I've upgraded to Bootstrap 4.5. Everything else in the file is exactly the same, just trust me. I just made a new layout file here so that we can compare two versions of Bootstrap and make sure that our code actually works the same on the old version and the new version. We can use this as a way to safely try upgrading one CSS library and maybe some layout changes before maybe our entire application has been tested on that CSS framework to make sure everything runs the way we expect it to. And all I'm doing is using event.setView just like we did before, passing layout.cfm in as that second parameter. So I'm going to start with commenting this out, save it, and let's refresh our page. You can see here's our default list view like we had earlier. We'll go back here and we'll turn this line of code on. So now we're going to get both the tabular view, and we should get the new Bootstrap 4.5 loaded into our application as well. Reload that. We have our tabular layout here. Now let's take a look at the page source. And you can see right here, yep, we got Bootstrap version 4.5 to load. So we did two things from that one function call. We swapped out our view layout, and we also swapped out the actual overall template layout from our application, both coming from event.setView. There's the view update, and there's our layout update. Taking that one step farther, we can use another option in ColdBox Set View called No Layout. This is useful for when you want to turn off the layout entirely. I'm going to save that, load our code up, refresh the page, and you can see there's our view. We still have the tabular layout from our actual view tabular.cfm file, but all of the site header, footer, Chrome is completely gone. So this is really useful when you want to hand back a portion of a page sort of in an unformatted or just partially formatted way. Maybe you want to use this user's list layout in an iframe in a bigger application. Maybe it's being used in sort of a widget inside some sort of content management system like ContentBox or something like that. You can simply go into your code and add no layout equals true onto any of those items that you need to strip off all of the layout information from, and ColdBox will take care of the rest for you. If you'd like to get more information on how Set View works with those different options, you can go to coldbox.ortusbooks.com, and there's lots of documentation in here showing you all the different variations of functionality you get with the Set View function.